poor management, and poor leadership. In our country, with large companies, small businesses, all kinds of different size companies, we all have to deal with leadership. We all have to deal with management. We all have to deal with the crap. And there are times as we go through our careers in which we are inevitably going to run into somebody that makes our lives bad. When I was 19, I had a job with a retail store, and I was doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was doing tasks that I was not assigned. And the supervisor pulled me to the side and he goes, "You need to be standing in your spot and monitoring the activity. You need to take initiative and work only in your area." Yeah, he told me that. It completely disrupted for about 5 years my life and understanding what the word initiative meant, because I was literally doing what he said. I was taking initiative. However, what he wanted me to do was comply and be obedient. Well, there's a certain reason and a purpose to comply and be obedient, but that was not the time. No, that was not the time or place, and that was just flat out wrong. I have worked in call centers where the management decides that people cannot stand up while they're talking on the phone because somebody might walk by the building and see us standing and it looks bad. Yeah, I'm not kidding. That was seriously the argument they gave us. Now, in no surprise to you, it'll be no shock that place is actually closed now. They actually closed down because they couldn't go. And I worked in a staffing agency where I was doing all the hiring. I was working with the clients. I was the only one in the office. I was the one-man show. I was a one-man band. And then one day somebody decided, we don't like that guy. He shouldn't be in our company anymore. We should just let him go. Yeah, that place shut down about a month after I was fired. Management leadership is the most important component of the workplace. It determines whether we're going to put up with the bullcrap or not. See, here's a funny little thing, and I know we don't always understand this, but a lot of the places we work, the pay is going to be very similar, right? I mean, if we're going to be a software engineer, one place might pay $50 an hour, another place might pay $52 an hour, and one place might be $48 an hour. But for the most part, the take-home pay, the net after gross, it's going to be about the same. I mean, really, when you think about it, it's going to be about the same. Here's a good example. Just to put this in perspective, when I was a software engineer, I was in a group of 7 people. We were all remote workers. This is pre-COVID, by the way. We were all remote workers. And guess what? Guess what was the number one reason people wanted to stick around? Because they were remote. They liked the work-to-life balance. They liked the freedom being remote gave them, so they could do things like the laundry or prepare a meal or do something of that nature, or not have to drive into the office, not have to put up with stupid office politics. There was a value that was provided to each and every one of us, and we all enjoyed it. It was all masterful. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. But guess what management did? Oh, Management decided that they needed to have a location strategy and that everybody was to be in the office. Meaning the location strategy meant we're only going to hire people who are in low-paying areas. So we're not going to hire people in California. We're not going to hire people in New York because, I don't know, we ended up paying like double of what we would in Iowa or somewhere, somewhere like that. They changed their policy and they want everybody to go into the office. So guess what? Suddenly, all the people who are remote and happy and content, even if they weren't getting paid as much as they thought they should, all those people left. And today, I've talked to the people on that team. They don't have a single full-time developer remaining. And then I see this thing on IndyStar, on their website, IndyStar.com. We have this great article about Caitlin Clark acknowledges lack of energy, frustration among Indiana Fever starters. Now, Caitlin's been in the news all over the place, especially about her Olympic snub. But this is a perfect example of what happens when your leadership is bad. If your leadership does not lead, you lose energy. You become demotivated. And see, what happened was, I kind of remember looking up this game. In this game, they were playing, I don't know, one of the best teams in the league, but it looked like they had a good record. So can you imagine that you're one of the worst teams in a league, and all you have to go for you is that you have 𝐲𝐞𝐿 Clark. You have Superwoman herself, right? And you're like, okay, well, we're one of the worst teams. All we have is Superwoman. And, yeah, we're going to be playing one of the best teams in a league. And, you know, the coach may not have said it. The players may not have said it, not verbally anyway, but they knew they were going to get their butts kicked. Let's be real. They knew they were going to get their butts kicked. They went into that game saying, yeah, we can beat we can beat winless teams, but not this team. We don't have a chance. So I don't know. What should we do? Now, I'm sure if you're 𝐲𝐿 Clark, if you're Superwoman herself, you're like, we're going to play our best, we're going to kick some butt, and if we just pass the ball, if we work together as a team, we'll win! And we'll show these guys what we're really made out of. But that's not what happened. No. They went out there afraid. They went out there timid. They went out there like the Chicago Bears going out to play the Green Bay Packers. They went out there afraid, and they went out there to lose. And that's all they wanted to do. They said, let's just get this damn game over with so we can go home and we can eat some popcorn and we can watch ESPN a little bit more. Management and leadership is the most important function when it comes to working with a team, with the day-to-day people. There is nothing more important. If your leaders suck, the team will suck. When I was a software engineer, I was on a team with a leader who was, you know, maybe a little iffy, but he knew how to motivate. He knew how to delegate responsibilities. He knew how to build you up. He knew how to grow your career. He had been through it himself. So, because he had been through the trenches, he knew exactly what to do with all of us. He knew how to construct a team. He knew that we should always have new people coming up through the ranks because eventually the experienced people are going to leave. He understood all that. People don't understand that today. Or they may understand, but they're not allowed to do it. And see, if you were to do things properly, your team would be happy. You would have very low turnover. Your retention would be extremely high. And even right now, your retention should be high. Because it's all about leadership. The company I worked for, where I did software development, they hired a new CEO. They didn't hire him from within the massive corporation. They just simply hired a new person from the outside to bring new life, new energy, new ideas to help grow the company. There was a lot of excitement that, oh, now this will be an opportunity as they fill in the ranks, they add middle management, that sort of thing, that people will move up and people will be able to enjoy the fact that they've been around for a long time and finally they'll be able to see the fruits of their labor. But no, that's not what happened. This person didn't care about any of the people who were at the company. He didn't care about retention. He didn't care about whether anybody was happy or not, because frankly, keeping around a bunch of people who have been employed for 30, 40, 50 years, not really what he wanted to do. He wanted those people gone. So what'd they do? What did he do? He hired his friends. He hired his buddies from other companies and gave them really nice, cushy jobs. I know this is no surprise. No one's like, oh, I'm shocked. No. Nobody's saying that. But he brought in his friends, and they brought in their friends, and they brought in their friends. And not a single person, I'm sure somebody, not a single person I know of went from being a longtime Wells Fargo employee to being an important decision maker at a high middle level rank within the corporate structure. Nobody. You would think you had all those people who have been around for so long that they would have said, this person would be great for raising up and moving up. And this is something that's been lost in our country. See, like 𝐲𝐿 Clark and her manager, Christie Sides, management has the biggest impact on our lives, has the biggest impact on everything we do. But more importantly, the reality, it has a big impact on our country. Nobody believes that a corporation has our best interest in heart any longer. Nobody cares. Nobody knows. Nobody believes that. Now, there are exceptions. If you're working directly with an owner, you should care and you should have loyalty. But for everything else, nope, no loyalty, nothing. And it's not because there aren't people worth being loyal to. There absolutely are. But for the most part, this is not the case. See, when we bring in people to be managers, to be leaders of our teams, they need to be people from the team. Not somebody with an MBA, not somebody who's just coming off the street. We need real leadership. And you can unfortunately get the real leadership only from the people who are on the team. Because as you elevate people from being a team member to being a manager, funny thing happens. The team members go, that could be me someday. I have the opportunity to raise myself up from being a team member to being a manager. But if you bring in somebody from the outside, some person with a fancy MBA who doesn't really have any idea what they're talking about, when you do that, it suppresses morale. Turnover goes up because they know they don't have an opportunity to really move up. They know they don't have a chance. They know there's no point in sticking around. I'll tell you another funny story. After my manager was fired, the one in software development who really knew what he was doing, after he got fired, his manager took over the team, and he wasn't a leader. He wasn't really even a manager. He was just a guy. He was just an old guy in an old suit. And as a C# engineer, the last mid-year review I did with the manager, the guy who didn't know jack squat, I went in, a C# engineer, and I walked in. And so for this mid-year review for the end of the year, I had filled out all the things I'd accomplished throughout the year. And he was reading it back to me, and he was reading all these things, just trying to get a better understanding of what I was saying. And he was reading, and he goes, so I see you've been working with C number sign and HTML. Stared back at him, unsure of what he was talking about. C number sign? C number sign? What could that possibly be? And I went, you mean C#? You mean that the IT manager, who is the manager above the manager, has no idea what C# is? How could you not know what C# is? It's been around for 20-something years. Every person on the team uses it. Pretty much most of the IT people who do development in the company use it. How could you not know C number sign? Come on, man. And even though I knew this guy was not the sharpest knife in the block, C number sign is not appropriate for an IT manager to say. And ultimately, again, it comes down to leadership, comes down to management. If you're 𝐲𝐞𝐿 Clark and Christie sides is your coach, your success and your failure is 100% dependent upon her. And so the reality that we have to deal with in our country is not whether 𝐲𝐿 Clark is any good. She is Superwoman after all. And not whether Christie sides is a good coach or not. Because really, honestly, that doesn't matter. What we have to get over in our country is the failure to understand how to pick good managers, how to pick leaders for our teams, how to trust the people who are in charge to do the right thing, to do the work they're supposed to get the results that they're supposed to get. Instead, we play stupid games. Play stupid games, we win stupid prizes, and that's called high turnover and high failure. That's it for today. I'm SB Graham. This is Jobferno. If you have any questions, send me an email at questions@jobferno.com. And as always, choose skills.